날 위해서라면 날 슬퍼도 기쁜 척할 수가 있었어. 널 위해서라면 난 아파도 강한 척할 수가 있어.
He could hear Ryan's mother's loud voice. Why are you taking it out, Ryan? Ryan didn't answer her. Heck, she didn't even look at her mother and continued to take out her important files and some clothes. She put everything in her suitcase while her mother continued to call her and tell her to stop packing her stuff. Looked at the raging woman in front of him. He observed every words and actions of the said woman. He looked at his ex-wife's mother, a mother who seemed to be obsessed with her daughter. She seems so much obsessed with her daughter that one might name her feelings towards her daughter as emotional, and no one would object it. He shivered thinking about it. How come he failed to notice Mrs. Lee's obsessive behavior towards Ryan? How come he failed to notice Mrs. Lee was involved in her daughter's life more than she should have? As he felt that time he shouldn't question her anything. You would regret choosing him over me, Ryan. To her words anymore and started to head outside. Are you even in your sense, Ryan's mom? What are you blabbering? You were choosing that bastard, that piece of over me, your mother, right? I will make sure you regret this decision of yours, Ryan. I will make sure you come back to me. Mark my words. Mark my words. The tension between them was palpable, a thick fog that neither dared to disturb. Grip on the steering wheel tightened as he stole glances at Ryan, noticing her distant gaze and the way her hands fidget in her lap. The confrontation with Ryan's mother had left them both reeling, the years of misunderstanding and the hurt lying bare between them. To Ryan's features, betrayal, confusion, and a deep-seated pain. As the city lights faded behind them, replaced by the open expanse of the countryside and the dark he pulled over, the gravel crunching under the tires, and turned off the engine. The sudden silence was a stark contrast to the noise of their thoughts. Ryan looked at him, silently questioning why he stopped the engine here, instead of driving to his house. We need a moment, some silence and some fresh air. They stepped out of the car, the cool night breeze greeting them like an old friend. The bridge loomed overhead, its structure a testament to the strength and resilience they both needed now. They leaned against the railing, the river below a mirror to the turbulent emotions within. There was a brief moment of silence till Ryan spoke. Ryan's voice was a whisper, yet it carried the weight of their shared history. At her eyes heavy, overwhelming with thick emotions, her lips trembling as she controlled herself from shedding her tears. As far as I observed her today, she doesn't seem to be normal. She seems to be severely obsessed with you. Her love for you has crossed the boundaries of a motherly love. She's not able to see the basic normal thing for you to love your husband or your own child. Instead of being happy seeing your family, she's seeing me, Taehyung, as a threat to her time with you. I don't want to say this, but due to lack of word, this the best I can describe her feelings for you. It's emotional. A soft gasp left her mouth hearing him. Earlier, when we were together, remember how I often used to say she's too clingy in our life, she's too much interfering in our married life? Maybe that's when her feelings were getting stronger for you. That time I couldn't comprehend it this much, but now that I look back, I can see the muted version of her today's behavior. Today she kept chanting how I took you away from her, how your own husband was taking you away from your mother. Ryan looked at him, his words sinking in her mind. 5 years ago, the fight after which to go to her parents' house till both of them calmed down, flashing back at her mind. Clenched as he faced Ryan, his eyes burning with a fire that matched his words. It's too much, Ryan. Your mom, she's crossing lines that shouldn't be crossed in our marriage. Ryan stood her ground, her own anger a fierce mirror to his. Interfering. Your mother has her life, we have ours. Why can't she respect that boundary? My mom is also there. She doesn't interfere in our life like that. Because my mom cares. Ryan insisted, her stance unwavering. Oh really? Do you think my mom doesn't care about us? Huh? Caring doesn't give her the right to dictate our marriage. The back and forth continued, neither yielding, their shared life hanging in the balance with every hated exchange. Finally, with a heavy heart and the mind clouded by anger, Ryan made a decision. I can do this, not here, not now. She declared, her voice a mix of defiance and exhaustion. We will talk when you clear your head from this nasty allegations. Problems you have against my mother. He also didn't keep quiet and said, oh please, it's you who need to clear your mind, not me. Without another word, she grabbed her purse and stormed out, the door slamming behind her with a resonating sound. Alone, the silence of the apartment amplifying the absence of resolution. As Ryan made her way to her parents' house, the streets around her seemed to echo the turmoil in her heart, the distance growing with each step, a chasm formed by words that couldn't be taken back. I should have listened to you instead of arguing with you. A tear left her eyes as she said that. You wouldn't know your mother's mind was becoming this much dangerous. I don't blame you, Ryan. You were doing the things a daughter would do when someone talked against her mother. Still, I shouldn't have left that night. I shouldn't have let you leave that night. I should have called you next day itself instead of waiting. I should have gone to your parents' house next day itself to bring you home. I lost 5 years of my life hating you for cheating on me, leaving me. 4 years of my life dwelling in grief of losing my child during birth. Her voice cracked as she said this. She then heard his tender voice. I can understand. Maybe my life was a little easy considering Taehyung was with me. He didn't let me dwell much in grief. At the mention of Taehyung, more tears pooled in Ryan's eyes. I have missed so many years of his life. I have missed raising him up. I am such a disgrace of a mother. No, Wyatt, you are not. Your mental health got severely damaged after hearing you lost your child. You can be a disgrace of a mother. Ryan, you have your whole life ahead. I am sure you will create beautiful memories with Taehyung. You think so? He nodded his head, the tender breeze flowing between them. And Ryan, I am really sorry for the words I have told you. The way I have behaved with you. You didn't know, Taehyung, just like me, you too didn't know my mom would do such nasty things. We both become victims of my mother's selfish desires. True, we did become victims, but maybe we could have tried a little more to save our relation, to talk a little rationally, then we wouldn't have lost 5 years of our life. Wayne looked at the river in front of her. Maybe you were right. The words hung heavy between them. He too looked at the river in front of them. Both of their thoughts filled with maybes and what ifs. The cold breeze were now cutting them like a knife, but they didn't care. They stood like this for a while. The weight of the confrontation with Mrs. Lee still pressing heavily on their shoulders. The silence of the house was unsettling, a stark contrast to the turmoil of emotions they had just endured. As they stepped farther in, the dim light revealed a scene that sent a cold shiver down their spines. Bodyguards, trusted protectors of their home, lay scattered and groaning, nursing wounds that spoke a lot of violent struggle. Vine's heart They moved together, step by cautious step, until they found Jimin. He was slumped against the wall, his face contorted in pain but alive. What happened, Jimin? Who did this to you? He tried to help, Jimin said. Jimin's eyes fluttered open, filled with tears and regret. He gasped. I tried to stop them, but they were too strong. They took Taehyung. The world seemed to spin around them, the walls closing in as if the gravity of Jimin's words sank in. Their son, their little Taehyung, was gone. But it was nothing compared to the agony of uncertainty and fear for their child. I don't know, Jimin whispered, tears mingling with the blood on his face. But we have to find him. We have to bring him back. They stood together, a united front in the face of their darkest hour, ready to move heaven and earth to find their missing son. Wai's world crumbled in an instant. The joy of discovering Taehyung was her own flesh and blood brutally snatched away by the night's harrowing events. She felt a hollow emptiness, a void where her heart should have been, as the realization set in that her son, her newly found son, was in the hands of someone with a vendetta. Paced the room like a caged animal, his mind racing with worst-case scenarios. The pain was etched deeply into his features, a stark reminder of the fierce love he bore for his son. How could this happen? He whispered, his voice barely audible over the sound of his own despair. I should have been here. I should have protected him. Fresh tears left Wai's eyes after hearing his words. After all, she was the one who told him that she needed to confront her mother. Then, at that time only, because of her only, they left the house. As they tried to piece together the chaos, a chilling truth emerged. A note, left carelessly on the metal, bore the unmistakable handwriting of Mrs. Lee. It read, united in their grief, but their resolve did not waver. They would move heaven and earth to bring Taehyung back to heal the wounds that this night had inflicted upon their family.